SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Let us start this lecture a thought process from Rabindranath Tagore. He says that trees are art's endless effort to speak to the listening heaven. It is a very beautiful statement, and let us recall what we learned in the last lecture. We are basically looking at how the wall being made and various walls we have looked at it, and we are discussing about bamboos. And we will now see the reinforced bamboo wall and along with the mud. And there are, as I told, like there are several way of doing. These are the huts, and then wattle and daub is there. And wattle are traditionally made from wood or bamboo or any other like maybe sticks which will be available plentifully in that area. And the panels are daubed with the mud and straw mixture up to the thickness of 50 to 150 mm depending on that. This is what I am showing. Of course, here these are the bamboos, right, and it can be cane also. See, this can be made of cane, any other reed, what you can say, reeds you can think of, and this is or cane or any other materials. So, advantages, if you look at it, it is easier to construct and it is cheaper to construct, but needs maintenance. It is elegant and fine for seismic zone, right, and it can be made only where cane or bamboo is available locally. Basically, you need not to really transport, and then material and cost will be very high when you transport. Here you can have in your own backyard, if you can grow. And as you know that bamboo grows in a 2-3 years, you can having enough bamboo to make your house, right. And even if you take one bamboo out of the tree, it will not spoil. That is the best good part of the bamboo. And cow dung and the local vegetable husk and local available grass and straw can be used, and this is being shown here, again this is the thing, right, and this is the straw are being used, right, along with the mud. They can use local materials, and this rice husk is being used. This is basically rice husk. Rice husk is a good insulating material. It is generally applied to the outer layer of mud plaster because it is water repellent. Even if water will fall on that, it will not erode the mud if it is there. So, that is why rice husk is being used very much. Of course, the advantages will be similar: low cost, cool inside in summer, warm in winter, easy to construct, good strength due to reinforcement, right, and the good against vibration, particularly like in earthquake and other regions, and reasonable durable, right, if you add this sawdust and other local material which will be there, right. And disadvantage, disintegrative, there is a permanent moisture, like particularly in the coastal areas there might be a little problems, and wash out in floods and fire susceptible, right. That is the one bad thing about, but when you use mud it will not affect that much. So, there is a practice of natural geotextile materials, right, and in the form of geogrid or the geonet kind in ancient India, and using the string of basically coconut coir. If you look at this is the Sanskrit slokas, I am not going to read fully, but you can say Nari Kela Phala Charma Sarang Jala Ma Pohe Cha, right. And these are the nets which are used made out of coils, and the coir fiber are threaded into strong cords. Of course, this fiber, this cord can be 2 to 6 mm. And this is a it can be horizontal, verticals and other things, and this is being used in the earlier days even the fort area. So, that it will be having good strength and then durability also, and where sand and slits are only available for constructing the material, not stones are not available, you can use this, right, a substitute. And mud wall is basically a ancient techniques, like because cob, what you call is, some people call cob also. Cob is an ancient earth building technique, mixing of earth, sand, gravel or pebbles, silt and straw with little bit water, right. And this of course proportionate is important, and if you can see that there is a, I have shown you, like this is the mud wall, right. And even this house is existing today in UP, I got from one village. And if you look at, they have made this a very good house, and of course there is a little bit cracks here, one has to maintain it. And if you look at the good soil for this wall, will be gravel around 15%, sand 50% and silt will be 15%, clay will be 20%. But you need not to worry about this much, this is of course better if you could get, but people will be knowing, they can put this and also test it, like whether it is good or not, like by hand, by their own judgment, right, they will be knowing, those people who are using. But of course most of us, we do not know which is the good or bad or ugly, because we do not have experience, but those people are having also use a judgment. And it is the low cost, of course, if available locally, right, and less skill is required, and appearance is aesthetic and natural, right, that is a good thing. And I will show you also how we have improvised this wall, and structural capability and heat and sound insulation, of course the fire and vermin resistance, right, like it, because mud is good, it will resist the fire, and durability and moisture resistance, unlike the bamboo when you use and other things, that will be problematic. And it can breathability, like it can breathe, it can also the moisture and air kind of things, and less toxic in nature. Because if you look at modern days, we use paints on that, and that paints are very, very toxic, we do not know and we are not aware about it, and keep the room cool and healthy. And of course disadvantage, less bonding between the mud and big pebbles if you are using, that is also a problem. So, you will have to use the pebble, proper size of the pebble, not easy to handle after certain height. But if you look at the history, particularly other countries also, like they have used very big houses, even 3-4 floors, and then big mosques are there in Iraq and Iran, you can see that, and affected by flood and torrential rain. Okay. And let us look at improvised mud wall, right, and this is the improvised mud wall, which you can see, it looks very nice, and of course they are using some binding material here, one can use Portland cement, and also one can use lime and other things. I will be also talking about compressed wall little later on, like you can get also the very good strength and stability. And this is another one, this is interior, this is the exterior kind of thing, you can have nice things, you can't think of that this is made out of mud, this wall, right, in today. So, what I want to emphasize, not that we will just look at them, but we can improvise it and then use it today, right. That is the point we should learn from this lecture, and then from our ancient wisdom. And modern stone composites, you can have stone and you can also join together, but these are not size stone, it will be any size, I have shown this is also one way, but this is not good, you should have a proper size and made, and then you can use as a mortar, mud as a mortar, a joining or binder, but low cost if locally available and less skill required, right. And disadvantage is less stable against vibrations and other things. History of maximum failure during earthquake, because these are not very stable, right, but if it is a stone, at least it will be stable. Properly, stone means stone properly dressed and then properly placed with a certain weight, like your temple structures, but these are not like temple structures. and of course, for temple structure there is proper standard is being maintained and less bonding between mud and stone, not easy to handle after certain height. This is all the problem is, because these are all different shape and sizes stones are being used. So, that is not really very good one has to adopt. So, let us look at roofing materials. Roofing will be several kind: thatched roof, bamboo or wood roof, stone and brick roof, handmade tiles, bamboo corrugated sheets and other material. There are several kinds you can see, and it may vary from region to region, and I will this is whatever I am showing is little bit tips of the iceberg. There are several things are there in this country, and thatched is one of the oldest form of roofing. According to me, it is as old as Indian civilization, and we have we will see maybe in the afterwards when you talk about town planning in about that. And this is the one kind of thatched roof you can see, basically roof of covering made of dry vegetation like straw. If you look at these are basically straw and palms, water reeds, other natural growth you can think of. And it is a very old roofing method, has been used both in tropical and temperate climate like India, because it is a good insulation of heat, and is not very popular among the people in recent time because of two factors. One is that people are very much interested to have a pakka house or the concrete and this thing, and maintenance is very low, very high in case of thatched house unlike the concrete. And beside this also like today labor, it is more labor intensive, and even the straws are not available because it is costly. And advantage of course, when it is related to the agriculture, then it is economical, lightweight, bad conductor of heat. But if you want to buy the straw from the market and then use, then it will be little costlier. And also the people are not available today to make this house, the skill is not with the people today. And disadvantage, fire susceptible, less durable, need to change periodically, because in each maybe 3 to 4 years you will have to change, or maybe sometimes 5 years. And good attachment required with the reefs, so that it can bear the heavy wind blow. And let us look at basic principle of making a roof, making a thatched roof. Of course, you need to have a truss, and then it was made of bamboo or the wood, and it has to be done properly and then properly designed to take the load, right. And this is of course the carding the straw, like if you look at, you will have to separate it and put it, and this is the thatching of the roof. And thatched roof must be as simple as possible. It should have ability to adapt to the free curve shapes kind of things, because of course here it is not shown, but suppose you are having, you can have that. And thatched around 80 to 150 thick was used earlier days, right, depending upon the your rain and then torrential rain and other thing area wise. And average cut length of the straw will be around 700 mm. Of course, you can manage with the lower, little bigger it will be better, kind of things. The labor cost will be reduced, right. And also the here if you look at the, it should be have the design of the what you call this truss will be dependent on the straw length, right, because the what you call the spars you will be putting, it will be interval will be decided by this. Okay. And the straw bundle used for roof must be strong, supple, and able to resist the effort to break it by twisting a handful continuously. So, therefore, people use some kind of tie it and then put it. If you look at, these are the poles here, this is a pole, right. Pole should be around something 50 to 100 millimeters diameter, and maybe space around the 400 to 800 millimeter apart, depending upon the design of the roof and also the truss. If it is very heavy, then you will have to take the load of that. And if wall is there, wall will take care of it, but in some places you do not, you will use the wall, you use the pole, right. And overhangs, these are the overhangs, right. It will be around 600 1200 mm to protect the mud wall from the erosion, and direct exposure of the wall to direct heating from the sun in summer. And if you look at that, depends upon what you call the area where it is, right. What is the, as I told, the path of the sun taken in the winter and the summer season has to be taken care. And rain water must not be allowed to discharge from a high level of roof to another thatched roof at lower level. Let me tell you, the people have designed their houses earlier days, the height of the thatched house in such a way that it will be what you call preventing the sun, summer sun particularly, to enter into your house one over another, and that is a beautiful thing which I had seen somewhere. And when I inquired, they told that this will be like when the sun will move it, the shadow will be coming in another roof, so that it will not be heated that much. So, let us look at a video how the thatched house can be made. This is a small video, and this is the straw which is has to be trimmed here. This is the bundle of straw, right, and depending upon the length what is required, which will be dependent on the what you call the distance between two spar, right, which is not shown here. And unfortunately, this kind of people are not there today who are having skilled enough to have thatched house. So, that is the problem today. And of course, there are several other things like coconut leaf roofs are being used particularly in the coastal belt of the South India. If you look at this, a 2-storied building like which having coconut roof this here, and here they might be using the maybe wood planks or maybe the mud house, mud roof what we will be having, and mud timber flat roofs. If you look at, it is most popular in Gangetic plain in UP, MP, Bihar, even in Jammu Kashmir you can find, and Deccan plateau and some parts of Karnataka, Telangana, Rajasthan and also central Maharashtra you will find. Even it is because I have seen in UP this kind of mud timber flat roof particularly in rural areas. And Indian mud roofs are normally flat with mud bricks on the supporting platforms of wooden planks, reeds and bamboo matting palms, or even palm of coconut leaves, any matting you can use, right, mat. And sometimes people use also the brick and mud, okay, apart from your wood planks, right. And let me show you a house here. This house is basically something around 40 years old, 40 to 50 years old. My student who is residing in Trivandrum, he told me, and he sent, this is his own house and in rural area of course, and it has been modified later on. And this is the roof is basically mud timber flat roof, right. And this, if you look at, this is the planks, and this is the beam. If you look at, this is your beam here, and these are wooden planks kind of things are used. And here what will happen, that what you call timber or the wood plank, right, this will be kind of thing around 1.5 to 2 inch depending upon the load what it is coming. It may be more than that, this I have shown it typical. And there is a straw mat or maybe bamboo mat or something given, such that it will soak the any water will be passed through this mud, because when the rainy season the mud may absorb some water. So, this has absorbed, so that it should not, timber should not get affected by that, right. And this is being used, and this life is, people says around something 100 years, and even some people claim more than that. I do not know, and I did not get any data. Let us look at what are the advantages of using mud roof over the cemented roof. Mud is truly natural, cheap and local material, right, and it provides excellent heat insulation, and internal part of the house is cooler in summer and hotter in winter. life is around 100 years. Of course, I have talked with several people, I have arrived at these years, whereas the life in the cemented roof is around 50 years, and cement you will have to buy from the market, and it is a poor heat for heat insulation. So, and it acts as a heat source. You might have observed in your when you are using the ceiling fan in summer, lot of heat will be coming and they put coming towards your the body and from the top to that, and it is unfortunate we are using that ceiling fan. We are basically, instead of cooling ourselves, we are taking the heat from the cemented roof and then bringing down. It is a foolishness to do that. And we are basically, one has to have a ceiling kind of things, right, so that this heat should not come, but we are not using it. Then after that you use the ceiling fan, right. And also it can be mud roof, mud in the mud roof can be recycled. So also the planks and other things, and is reusable. And concrete can be one time you can use, it is using a lot of energy for doing that. For mud, no energy, you will have to use what you call just dig it and then use it, like, or you will have to use the mud from the ponds or some other places. It cannot be recycled, and dismantling cost is low, but concrete house, if you want to dismantle, it is very high, and construction cost is very low because any ordinary person can do. Here you need a specialty, higher cost of construction, and stronger in compression so far mud is concerned, and so it is very good for the roof. That means mud is a very good material for the roof, whereas the cemented, a crack may appear if not properly casted and cured properly, and also cost of construction of the concrete house or cemented roof is very high, right. And of course, there will be disadvantages. Mud is eroded easily by water, mud has low strength, of course, like it behaves poorly in the event of earthquake, and of course, cemented, if you compare, it is good resistant to earthquake, provided it is not very severe, low range, Richter scales. If it is low, one can manage. If it is high, then it will be devastating. And high maintenance is required with a few intervals of, after certain intervals of years, one has to maintain the mud roof. And so also the concrete also one can do, otherwise seepage will be a problem. And mud soaks up rain water and becomes very heavy, and of course, cemented roof won't soak the rainwater, and mud roof is susceptible to the, mechanical damage, whereas the damage due to the mechanical forces in case of concrete is not that much, provided the load is not that heavy, like in earthquake or heavy cyclone or landslides, this also can't manage the load due to the what you call earthquake or heavy cyclone or the landslide cannot be managed well by the even cement room. So, therefore, if you look at it is having certain advantages. Let us look at now the bamboo or the wood or the grass roof kind of things, and this is the bamboo roofs which is well designed, and then it has to be joined properly also. These are joints, right, and it has to be properly maintained so that water can fall and this thing. And this is of course made of kind of a bamboo also, and this is the one which is made of wood. If you look at, this is the wood roof, and sometimes people use over it brick or maybe some mud can also be used, but even you can also use some mat on it, right, on the top of it. And of course, these are proven techniques. It is what you call durable, particularly when you use bamboo and other thing. Bamboo should be seasoned properly, that is also important, and is good strength aesthetically, and then good for holistic health, but creates a good environment inside house. You won't feel suffocated by the concrete and other thing. So, from that point of view good, and it is a biodegradable, that is a very important one, and it is a eco-friendly in the sense it is not guzzling the energy and creating some greenhouse gases like your cement and other things, you know. So, also the iron rods. So, hand made tiles, if you look at, people can make and dry it, and even they can bake it, and not much skill is required to manufacture. Installation and maintenance does not require special skill, you just keep properly. Okay, of course, to some extent skill is required, but not that sophisticated skill is required. Can be manufactured by the local soils, right, and good for air circulations and never feel suffocated inside a house, and not durable that much as the concrete, but however one can manage up to 10 years, you know, kind of things what people are having. And brick and lime roof, which is if you look at, I am showing here that this roof I have got in nearby IIT Kanpur. There is a just adjacent to IIT Kanpur, there is a village Nankari. I got this house. If you look at, this is your roof. If you can see, this thing is a arc here. Now, this arc is made, and it is what the person is claiming, it is more than 60 years old, this house, and it is not maintained properly. Let me tell you, there it is abandoned, they are not using, they are going to dismantle it also, and without maintenance they could manage to get 60 years, okay, and which is not in that bad condition from the look you can see. And there is a another you know, question arises, this arc, how it is working. If you look at, these are the forces acting on the structures, right, and these forces is being transferred over here, right, to that, and this is a very important stone which is known as the lodestone or the keystone, key brick you can say here. This will be what you call load brick, right. And the acting forces due to the weight and also the human being, suppose you can have a, you know, moving around, you can go for a second story building. It is result to the compressive stresses in turns, because these forces is transferred to this way, this is compressing, you know, right, and in turn eliminate the tensile stresses here nearby, right, it is being joined. So, the force is coming, and which is also known as the arc action. Because of that, it is basically being remaining, and then of course, you can use these kind of motors here or the binders, so that it will remain. But how they might have made it, and keep in mind, this is a very large arc here, this is the very small arc here. Okay. What they could have done, they could have made a frame like this beforehand, right, and frame, of course, it could have been a truss kind of thing joining, so that load can take, right, kind of structures, right, and then they could have set these bricks, right, put it, and then of course, keep in mind that these bricks should be a proper size, that is very important, and such that this center will be coming to that, and this center of, you know, this thing will be matching with this radius. That is the important point one has to make, right. Brick making and putting, it is a little lot of skill is required, and so also each brick has to be looking at you know, this load whatever it will be coming. And this is the house which you can make, brick and lime, you know, you can make 2-storied building, 3-storied building, also people have used it. And there is another way I happens to see in Kanpur, and this is again in a dilapidated condition by the side of Ganga, it is in Sivrajpur. This technology is little different, this is basically what you call the vertical, the arc is vertical in nature, in this case is vertical arc, this is the horizontal arc. If you look at, these are all arc. Horizontal arc, right. and how it is working, and they might have a frame kind of thing they could have used, and if you look at the center, there will be some center here, some other place not shown here, that brick size has to be properly maintained and kept. So, therefore, it is very important to what you call see that this kind of technology can be revived such that it can be used even today, and without getting resorting to the concrete, and the lime is far superior as compared to the Portland cement, because you can make it locally and then you can use it, and also from the heat transfer point of view it is having better properties, right. And advantage old technique, durable and usable, and it is quite cheap to make it, but the skill with which we can make is not available today with the people. That is a very important challenge, one has to look at it. We can revive this technology. So, this is a rammed mud wall is old building techniques. It is found in ancient India, not in the modern way, but in a little different way, and it relies only on the natural material. Walls are built out of normal compacted mud, and temporary form work is built into which mud is placed and compressed to have a compacted wall. And let me show you, this is the house which is built out of this compact rammed mud wall, right, and this is the thing how you can do, like you can have this frame in which you will be ramming this mud, and let me show you that, and you are having a mallet here, and these are the frames, right, which has to be supported properly, and then you can put ram it. This frame is, we call it form work, right. Of course, there will be plinth level here, and then you can having. And ideal mud consists of good mix of clay 10 to 40%, silt around 10 to 40%, sand 30 to 50%, and very fine gravels, but people do use in modern time cement, and even lime can be used, and both weight bearing capacity and non weight bearing walls can be built. Of course, when it is weight bearing, you will have to increase the strength, right. And multi-story building can be made out of this, provided the walls are of adequate thickness, and minimum thickness is around 30 centimeter, mainly to allow the stability and thermal mass. Of course, 2 to 3 story building can be built with increased wall thickness, and it is eco friendly and recyclable and also sustainable. If you look at this kind of technology, earlier days used in fort walls, particularly outer walls will be made out of compress, what you call, or the rammed mud wall, and they were using elephant for making that load wise. Okay. So, let me show you a video just to say how it is being done, and it is done in modern time in Uttarakhand in some region, and if you look at this is the technique they have used, and this is a 2 plates here and one, and they are using, a person is just standing and putting his own load, so that he is also pressing it. And after this, of course, this is the one pressure, you can think of this, the handle of the pressure, which will be pressed by the both the side of the form work or the plank, wooden plank. So, that he is doing right now, so that it will be compressed, right. Both the vertical compression and the horizontal compression has to be given, so that it will be take a proper shape and compacted. And they have also made this house themselves, all family members, and including the roof also. If you look at this roof, this is the roof which is basically made out of mud, okay, in recent time. It is not the old time, even they have improvised the technology and then they have used it. So, you might have seen mud staircase, but for me it was a great this thing, I could get a mud staircase which is made of, these are the steps, right. steps of the staircase, and it is still being used in rural areas of UP, and particularly with the poor people who cannot afford to have a concrete house, they are using today. And I was having a video, maybe due to paucity of time I will not show you. It can be made with natural material, it is eco friendly, and semi skilled people can make it, and of course, the more maintenance is required. It will be suitable inside house and it takes more space, these are the disadvantages, and it is suitable for straight staircase like straight, but if you want to have a winder staircase like in modern time due to space what we are using you cannot use it, but however we can really improvise it, find out ways and means how to do that, and it is mostly used in rural areas like Gangetic Plain, UP, Bihar and West Bengal also to some extent, right. And this is the huts in Rajasthan. If you look at this, a particular shape is there, and this we call it as a bung, and this is a very nice decorated walls they were having, that is the aesthetic sense they are having, and this is the same thing, and which is known as bhanga houses in Kutch and Gujarat, which is basically in seismic zone. And bhanga houses is traditionally construction type in Kutch district of Gujarat state, which has a very high earthquake risk as I told just now, and it consists of single cylindrical shaped room, right. Like this, it is a single cylindrical shape, it is not a rectangular shape, it is a cylindrical shape, and bhanga has a conical roof. This is like a cone, right, this roof is like a cone, right, and supported by cylindrical walls, right, these are all cylindrical, and bhanga has existed for several 100 years and is quite durable and appropriate prevalent in desert conditions. This is meant for desert conditions, because any side wind will come, it will not affect it, the roof will be balanced properly, you know, that is the beauty of this house. And due to its robustness against natural hazard as well as the pleasant aesthetic, housing is also known as architecture without architects, right, nobody has made, people have made that, and it looks very beautiful, right, you can see. And these are the some other houses in which are having thatched roofs and which so on, and they do always indulge in paintings the walls and other things, and these are also the what you call the windows they are having. And the construction of the bhanga house is basically, as I told, is circular in plan with cylindrical shape. So, this is basically the circular in shape, and inner diameter of bhanga house is typically between 3 meter to 6 meter, right, and generally this house will having 3 opening, one is the of course the door, right, here, and there will be windows also, another windows, 2 small windows. And during earthquake, if you look at which happened in the Bhuj region of Richter scale of 7.6 in 2001, it was not really very much affected, and as the record says that very few bhangas experience significant damage in the epicentral region, which is maybe attributed to the poor quality of construction material and improper maintenance of the structure, because you need to maintain. And why it is so? Because due to the circular shape wall in the plan, this is the circular shape, right, and inertial forces developed addition a thick wall required, right, inertial forces are developed so that it balance each other, and the thick walls required for thermal insulation high in plane stiffnesses, which provide excellent performance under the lateral load. When the loads are coming, it is all balancing because of circular in shape. And it has also been observed that the failure of bhangas in last earthquake caused by the few injuries to occupant due to type of collapse, right. So, this is a very good house, you know, which having, of course, this thatched house will having what you call vertical wooden post which will be there to make it balanced kind of things and structural rigid. So, of course, the hut style in South India will be little different, and these are the I have shown you, like different styles of huts in the rural South India, right. And there is a one house I am thinking to discuss. Of course, each region will be having different kinds of house design, which I couldn't cover in this lecture, but however, I will urge upon people to look at it and document it if possible and send to us and take some video and pictures, right, of those houses of particular regions. And this is typical to the Nilis tribe of Arunachal Pradesh, this house, and this house floor level is raised something 2.5 meter from the ground level, right, and ceiling level is around something 2.5 meter from the floor level. Like look at, if you look at this height is generally, it is not very strict 2.5 meter, it may be varying, but generally average 2.5 meter, right, and this is around 2.5 meters. If you look at this is the thatched portion overhangs, and this is the V shaped kind of thing they use, and these are all what you call foundation. You can see that plan consists of rear verandas, right, on the back side, common room with a fireplace, and also very important thing, how they make a fire in this wooden house. These are all bamboo houses, okay. It is not having a floor of mud or some other thing, it is that. That is very interesting, which I will not be discussing, but it is they know how to do that. And like side verandas, there will be lot of verandas. Roof is made of bamboo truss and toko leaves in that areas, and palm leaves, cane leaves, jungle banana leaves. There are several kinds of leaves they can use. And of course, the longevity of improved type of indigenous house is about 20 to 25 years, but the maintenance is called for 2 to 3 years, like any other thatched house. And this wooden foundation, these are basically foundations, gets rot due to the bacterial action, and there is a danger of structural collapse also. The one has to look at it. Basically, it requires the what you call maintenance. If you look at these hill areas, they need to have houses like that. That is the reason why they were making. And to have a concrete house in this region is a hell of affairs, okay. It is not that ordinary people, you need design, and they were knowing how to do that. These houses, if you look at this side, foundation will be high because this is a slope, right, and they were knowing how to do, and this has to be protected, and this the indigenous knowledge will be having. Of course, there is a ladder here to, you will have to get up into the house, right. And this is the, of course, various bamboo architectures I have taken, need not to be from our country, but just to show you that bamboo can be a good material, So, thank you very much. Actually, I have just give you a glimpses of the housing in rural areas. It is not exhaustive, but lot of science involve it, and lot of things you can learn from it, and we need to preserve those technique, methodology, and also the skill with the people. And they should find out what they want to do according to their region, not that copy and paste the concrete and make it a concrete jungle. So, we will have to retain our heritage and culture of making house and doing it ourselves and taking all the scientific aspect into it. Thank you very much listening. I hope and wish that you people will do something and at least record it and preserve it. That is important. Thank you very much.